And for more, I'm joined by Glen Ford, the executive editor of the Black Agenda Report and also author of The Big Lie, an analysis of U.S. media coverage of the Grenada invasion. Good to see you there, Glen. So talk a little bit more about your book in light of the anniversary. You seem to say that the media got it wrong when covering this event. How so?
Well, in the first 48 hours, they squealed and screamed and cried about not getting access to the island or even being allowed to get on battleships and such. I think your film talked about that. But after that first 48 hours, when the U.S. government felt more comfortable allowing media folks to be on the island and embedded with the troops, they performed as if they were spokespersons for the U.S. military. There was not the slightest trace of independence whatsoever. When the U.S. military made it clear that it was going to base this invasion on partially on a threat to U.S. medical students on the island, the U.S. media jumped in as if there really was a threat. Of course, there wasn't. That's why none of the medical students were hurt. When the United States made it appear as if Grenada was a base for Cuban operatives, the media started looking for them and imagining them and passing on reports of Cubans in military capacities. A delegation of us, black journalists from the United States, were in Grenada only less than 2 months before that invasion. And we could testify that the Cubans at the Port Salinas airport were nothing other than fat, pot-bellied construction workers as they exist the world over, not military men at all. And of course, the journalists who were there from the major media could have seen that as well, but they instead spread the big lie that somehow the United States was interrupting a Cuban occupation of the country, and that the Cubans were the ones who were resisting the invasion.
Well, you made a few interesting points, and one of them is that, many people say that this is sort of a precursor to embedding, that this really changed the way that the media covers the wars.
I heard some of your people say that, and that is also what we concluded in the book, that what the United States government discovered was that that there is no danger from the corporate media of them performing any kind of subversive repertorial activities, that they can be trusted to toe the official State Department line or the Joint Chiefs line or whatever is the operative line, that they in fact can do a better job of propagandizing a war than the state can do, because actually they're better, they're more creative, they're more talented, their photographers are better, and they know how to please their bosses better. Yes, the behavior of the press corps in Grenada made the U.S. military much more comfortable and decisive in terms of how it would treat its press as partners in war and not as adversaries in the future.
Put this into context for us, though, today. I mean, has that changed? Talk about the media covering today's wars, whether it's Iraq or Afghanistan.
Well, what we find is that the corporate media does not change, does not veer far from Washington's official standpoint unless there is a significant official opposition to the war. And we're not talking about people in the street. They have shown over and over again in the past several years that they are quite capable of ignoring 100,000 people in the street. But when significant sections of the Democratic Party begin expressing anti-war views, then a portion of the press responds to that faction of power.
That's another interesting point. This happened so long ago, but yet you're making the connection with the coverage and how it hasn't changed much since then. Glen Ford, executive editor of the Black Agenda Report and also author of the book The Big Lie, an analysis of U.S. media coverage of the Grenada invasion.